So I'm recording now. So anybody who doesn't want to be on the screen, drop your camera out. But so far, all the people I see across the top, all of you are absolutely more than acceptable to have your faces on the screen. Look, mine is. But just so you know, I'm recording it and probably going to put it on YouTube so that Valerie can share it out for others to get value from. And the really cool thing is, if you ask questions, then we're providing answers, then you're providing value. How's that, Valerie? Here's the other one. This is all about not just sharing ideas, but also about connecting. So if you'd like to connect with people all around the space, all around your industry, all around the triad, drop your LinkedIn profile into the chat box. Okay, just drop your LinkedIn profile URL into the chat box. And then before we get done, make sure you click on the three dots that are in chat to the right of the word file. Click on the three dots, and then you can say save chat. Okay. The next one I just let in, Valerie, is absolutely going to be a heckler, and I'll manage him. All right, let's go through this slide deck. I'll repeat that idea about the chat later on. So this is all about using LinkedIn during job search. So who am I? Real quick level, quick statement. I've been doing this for a long time. I started using LinkedIn in 2007, started teaching in 2009. And I now teach it to business professionals. I teach it to people in career transition. I teach it to business executives. I teach it in all kinds of industries. I'm also as a career coach. I've trained and helped people figure out how to find their next job. Been doing that since about 2008 as well. I love to help people, and using and teaching LinkedIn as a business tool is a great way for me to do that. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and go, "Hey, Teddy," sort of like, "Hey, Alexa," or "Hey, Siri," and then pause for a moment and I'll let you ask the question. All right, what is LinkedIn? Is number one professional social networking or social media site on the internet. Hands down, there is no other professional social media site like LinkedIn. Okay, 720 million people on it today. And check this out, 2 new members every second, pretty consistently. Here's another thing. As a job seeker, why do you want to be on LinkedIn? Because nearly all of the recruiters and all the hiring managers around the world, including the USA and North Carolina and New York, etc., they're all using LinkedIn daily, looking for people relevant to what they're looking for. Another reason, what is LinkedIn and why should you be using it? It's a great tool for you to find new people to connect with, to get into conversations with, and even to get into very deliberate business/job conversations. I do this regularly. It works for me. It's a fantastic way for me to grow my business. It's a fantastic way for you to find and uncover that next job. By the way, something very blunt for you to think about, and that is this. At least 70% of the jobs out there are not listed on job boards. If you're looking on Monster, Career Builders, Ladders, Simply Hired, LinkedIn, Indeed, and all those for jobs, that's all you're doing. You're only looking at a small portion of the available opportunities. And that's one of the reasons why I teach a model of stop looking for jobs, stop asking for jobs, stop applying for jobs. Instead, get on LinkedIn and find people who play in the sandbox you want to play in, who may play with the toys you want to play with. Get into conversations. It's going to be far more rewarding than looking for jobs all day long. There's a few things that make sense for you, for us all to understand when we're using tools like LinkedIn. It's some definitions I'll share with you. Number one is your target audience. This is the person or people who may be interested in what you have to offer. They may be interested in your expertise, your perspectives, your style, your skills, and your experiences. In some perspectives, it might be the person who would hire you, the hiring manager, the business owner, the department head. Your target audience is not necessarily going to be the HR manager. They're a part of the process. but may not be your most important target audience. So think about that when you're thinking about using LinkedIn. Focus on your target audience. Here's the other one too, is influencers. These are the people who know the people that you want to have a conversation with. These are the people who know the people who may have a need for what you bring to the table. So you need to look at who are the influencers, who are the people who work in that department, who are the people that work with those tools, who are the people that do that kind of work, who are the people who used to work there, who are the people who live across the street from the director or the business manager that may have a need for what you do. Influencers are a broad group of people, much more than just simply the person who would hire you. So you should be looking for the influencers who can introduce you, as well as looking for your target audience. Your LinkedIn profile is not your resume. It is not your resume. It needs to be highly relevant to your resume, but first and foremost, it's your public brochure. It is the document that tells your target audience who you are, what you do, what you can do, what you enjoy doing, and what you have done relevant to what you want to do. It's a brochure, not a resume. How about your LinkedIn network? Your LinkedIn network are the people that you're connected with and or you share connections with who you could potentially get into a conversation with. It's sort of like building your portfolio of your $63 million that I thought about building one day and never got anywhere near building it. You need to build your portfolio of network all in a very diverse way, not just with one thing. Build it with your target audience. Build it with influencers. Build it with people you can learn from. Build it with people that you can help. Build your network in a very broad and diverse way, and it becomes much richer than simply building your network with only people who would hire you. Brand and reputation. Your brand and your reputation is what others perceive of you based on what you do and say on LinkedIn. What do you share and what do you engage on? What do you like? What do you comment on? What groups are you in? That your brand basically comes from the words and the thoughts that you put out through LinkedIn. So you need to be very purposeful about making sure that what you're sharing on LinkedIn can help build and or support your brand. Okay. Here's a few principles to go through. You must be clear on your goal and your plan in order to create success with LinkedIn. You need to know who your target audience is. Who do you want to connect with? What do you want them to know about you? You need to be clear about that when you look at your profile. You also need to be clear about what do you want to talk with them about and why do you want to talk with them? Why do you want to connect with this person and get into a conversation? What type of work are you interested in? You need to make sure your profile speaks to that. You need to make sure that you're engaging in conversations relevant to that. And what types of companies are you interested in? You need to have a goal for using LinkedIn. The goal needs to focus on, boil this down to three things. What's my profile going to say? What's my network going to look like? And what kind of content am I going to engage on? Be clear about your goals. You're going to get more value out of it. Number 9, success starts with a professional LinkedIn profile. So you need to speak to your target audience in first person. You don't have a PR person write your profile and go, Teddy's this and Teddy's that. No, it's me speaking to my target audience, first person. Make sure you're using keywords and phrases that are important to that hiring manager, important to that department head, important to that small business owner who may have a need for what you bring to the table. Use their words, not your words, Teddy. Tell your target audience what you do, what you can do, and what you enjoy doing relevant to them. This is how you write your LinkedIn profile. Sharing relevant content about your past. So your prior existing positions, you only talk about what you did in those prior positions that's either relevant or shows professional growth to who you are today. So you'll notice my LinkedIn profile does not speak about the times way back when I picked up trash in the morning with a trash truck and delivered caskets in the afternoon. True story, Robin. But it's not on my LinkedIn profile. Neither is on my LinkedIn profile of the work I did in Las Vegas, and I can't tell you about that. It's kind of private. I did an Oracle applications project in a technology world. It's not on my LinkedIn profile. Why? It's not relevant. Additionally, if you're going to write a brochure, if you're going to write a business document, please check your grammar and your spell check. You do not want to show up in my Manger report, Manger. If you want to know what I'm talking about, do a LinkedIn search for Manger and just hit enter. But your professional LinkedIn profile is where this all starts. By the way, any questions, feel free to jump in and ask. And when I get done with these 10 principles, we'll jump into LinkedIn and take even more questions. Number 8, you can't just build it and they'll come. You've got to build your network all around your profile. So you got to know clearly who you want to connect with. Who are these individuals that you want to have in your network? You've got to look for ways to get introduced to them first. People say, oh man, I see the CEO of company XYZ on here. I'm going to send him a LinkedIn invite. Well, that ain't going to work because he doesn't know you from Adam's house cat. Instead, look and see if you know someone who knows him and get introduced to them outside of LinkedIn before you send them an invite. Or you can look for ways to engage with them. And even after you connect, you've got to look for ways to engage with your connections in real life, maybe via telephone, maybe via business email, maybe via Zoom call. I don't know. There's lots of different ways to engage with people besides simply through a LinkedIn message. And you want to strive to move the right people into the right conversations. If you believe they're an influencer, you want to get into a conversation about ultimately, after you nurture the relationship with them, who do they know that they think you should know? Who do they know that you should meet? That's the right conversation. You're not going to ask an influencer for a job. By the way, you don't even never ask a target audience for a job. Ask them for a conversation and you can uncover that job or uncover a job that they haven't even brought up yet, that they've been mulling over for a while, trying to think about who the right person to help them with. And there's no magic to the number or the size of your LinkedIn network. You should be constantly growing your LinkedIn network on a regular basis. The magic is in that next great connection. Number 7, a presence in a network only works if you engage. Picture this. Picture going to a networking event. You get all dressed up, you put your finest clothes on, you get all shined up, you brush your hair. I got less to brush nowadays. You trim the beard, you shine the shoes. That's called presence. On social media, that's your LinkedIn profile. It's presence. And you go to this networking event, you walk into a room, there's 700 people in the room, 400 of them you know. They know you, trust, respect, and like you. 300 you've never met, but they're relevant to you. It's like your LinkedIn network. A lot of them in your network, you know. You have trust, respect, and like. A lot of the other ones are new to you. You're nurturing those relationships. Think about this networking event. You walk in there looking good, the room's full of people, and you walk in and like a wild man with reckless abandon, you're doling out business cards. Or you bring your brochures and you're handing out brochures left and right. How long is that going to work for you? In real life networking, people do not want you doling out business cards. In real life networking, people do not want you doling out your brochures. What they want to do is get into a meaningful conversation, a mutually beneficial conversation, an interesting conversation. The greatest conversationalist ever is a personal friend of mine who all he did was ask questions. You need to do the same thing on LinkedIn. So social engagement is where you get into relevant and meaningful conversations with your target audience and their influencers. Engagement is way more than liking in the emoticons. Engagement is where you really say something of some meaningful value. Engagement is where you pay attention to who touches your content, who comments, who liked it, who is that person. Oh my God, that guy might be someone I need to talk with. Oh my God, that's someone I haven't seen in ages. I need to say hi to him. Engagement is looking for ways to directly engage your target audience. Telephone, email, business email, Zoom call, send them a letter, send them a book. Engagement is, again, phone, email, Zoom. Engagement never starts with I'm looking for a job. Because the moment you engage with someone and start with, I'm looking for a job, you're going to put a barrier up between you and them because they ain't got a job in their pocket. And now they're freaking out because they don't know how to help you. Engagement is mutually beneficial. Make the conversation all about them. If you've never read the book, Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, go to Valerie's library, the Greensboro Public Library, look for that book and get it. If you've not read that book, you need to read that book. It can change your life forever. Number 6, giving is a powerful tactic to creating success with LinkedIn. Do you remember the guy who came in and handed out flyers? That's not giving. Do you remember the guy who came to the networking event and they shared interesting ideas and they listened to what you had to say? That's a form of giving. Giving is listening. This applies to social media as well. Giving is when you get into a conversation with someone about their content and you make it about their content. Giving is when you get on LinkedIn and you realize that, Chan needs to meet someone, you introduce Chan to the other person. Giving is when, you share something for someone else to help them, not to help you. Giving is when you give articles and images and posts and videos and et cetera, content that your target audience can get value from. It's all got to be relevant to who you are and what you do, but not about you. And giving is how you get permission to talk about yourself. Giving is how you build trust, respect, and light on LinkedIn just by sharing some content and being polite and friendly to others, and how others will be willing to help you. Number 5, whatever you decide to do, you have to be able to sustain your actions. It's not a race, it's a journey. You don't go busting through this like a bull through a china closet and go, yeah, I'm done all my sharing for the month and I'm done connecting with everybody for the month because I just connected with 5 people. No, you got to use LinkedIn in such a way that on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly, you have different activities you do. Maybe you write an article once a month. Maybe once a week you share an article, you share a YouTube video. Maybe every day you look for new people that you can engage with. Look for people you're connected with who you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe every day look for someone new that you met at a networking event or at a Greensboro Public Library event that you saw they were interesting. You send them an invite. You go, oh my golly, Robin, this is Michael. It's good to meet you on that event. Love to connect with you. Maybe have a conversation. But it's not a race. It's just a series of steps along the way you keep doing. Number 4, this is hard for a lot of people, but when I discovered this, it again changed my life. You got to be confident. I had a conversation a couple of days ago about fake it till you make it. And this guy, who was it? It was the used car dealer in Winston-Salem. He wears the red, white, and blue hat. Tracy Myers. Tracy Myers posted, what do you think about this fake it till you make it thing? And there are a lot of opinions out there about fake it till you make it. And I threw out my perspective. May not be the only, it is not the only perspective, may not be the best perspective, but it's my perspective. Here's what I say. I say fake it till you make it as long as you're putting the effort in to get there. You can't fake it till you make it and sit back and hope it happens. If you're going to present yourself as an expert or professional or a guru in your space, then by golly, do that. I'm a professional in this space. This is what I do. I'm really freaking good at it. But then you've got to do the effort, put in the time to build yourself to that space and engage in conversations with people to uncover for them why you are that. You've got to be confident, stand up straight, backbone, smile on your face, and never waver. This is who I am and what I do. For me, I'm Teddy Burriss. I'm a LinkedIn strategist, trainer, and coach, and I'm daggone good at what I do. Confidence. Confidence shows in everything you do. Confidence shows in your engagement. Confidence shows in your conversations. Confidence shows in your post. So you got to show the confidence, but then support it by growing from your experiences. Support it by learning from others. Mimic what you learn. Don't copy, mimic. The more you do, the more you practice, the better you become. Because practice makes permanent, not perfect. Perfect is something you never achieve. Permanently getting better, that you can achieve. Permanently getting better. 1% a day, 1% a month. Measurement. You've got to be measuring what's going on. Measure your LinkedIn network. Is it growing with the right people? Measure your profile views. Are more and more people looking at my LinkedIn profile because I'm engaging? By the way, the answer will be yes. The more you engage, the more eyeballs you'll get on your profile. Hopefully your profile says what you want it to say. Measure, are you showing up in LinkedIn search and with what words? You can see this all on your dashboard or your LinkedIn profile. Measure the number of conversations you get into each week, not the number of applications you apply for, but the conversation. And measure the number of new people you're getting into conversation with each week. These are the real important metrics. At the end of the day, it's all about getting into conversations. At the end of the day, it's getting people to look at your profile so they may want to get into a conversation. Measure what's important. Don't be measuring likes and comments and content views. All that stuff is trivial. Measure the important stuff. By the way, if you have any questions, again, feel free to unmute yourself and go, hey, Teddy, or drop them in the chat. I'm watching it all on my big 75-inch screen that's not quite that big. Number 2, integrate the use of LinkedIn into your other job search steps. This is not a sideline tool that you use once a week or so. Lots of people do. They don't get value from it. You got to use LinkedIn in lots of different steps that you have for finding your next job. It could be researching new companies, researching roles that you've never thought of before, researching people in those roles, finding your next conversation, find the next person you want to have a conversation with, and find someone who can introduce you to that person. By the way, that's a step you should be doing every day. Find someone you would like to talk with who may play in the sandbox you want to play with or the toys you want to play with, and find someone you know who can introduce you to that person. That's how you're going to get yourself moved forward. Monitor companies that you're interested in and how they're growing and what job opportunities they have. Monitor changes to your LinkedIn networks. Where did this guy go? Beth used to work for this company. Now she works for this company. Oh my God, that's my target company. Beth's now working there. Or, Carlos was working here and now Carlos is working there. Well, Carlos and I do the same kind of work. What is that job all about? Maybe I should say hi to Carlos and stay in touch with him. Maybe he knows something I don't know. And learn. Use LinkedIn to learn. You should be learning every day. Learn something new every day. I'm going to teach you something new in a minute. I got it right down on my piece of paper here that I've written down to share with you. Learn something new every day. My last big principle: exercise and experimentation. I was told I can't say this to high school kids. Exercise and experiment. That's how you create success with any tool, including LinkedIn. Exercise is how we build up our muscles and become better at various tasks. Experiment with your LinkedIn profile. Change it up a little bit. Add something new. Look at what words you wrote and then ask yourself, why the heck did I write that, Teddy? And mix it up, rewrite it. Look at the content you're engaging on. Look at the content you're sharing. How relevant is that? How meaningful is that to your target audience? Experiment with jumping into conversations. Do not be afraid about jumping into a conversation through content, unless you're going to jump into a conversation all about dust bunnies and you're going to start talking about peanut butter and jelly. That's called hijacking the conversation. Never hijack a conversation. If the conversation is about project management in the funeral industry, then keep the conversation going in regards to project management in the funeral industry. Or don't jump into it. Experiment with calling your LinkedIn network. Every now and then, go look at your LinkedIn network, find people who are relevant to you or relevant to what you're doing or relevant to the industry you're interested in, and strike up a conversation. Call them up. Call up Deanne and go, Deanne, it's been a while. Call up Denise. Say, golly day, Denise, how are you doing? It's been a while. Strike up the conversation. Rejuvenate the relationship, and that will often give you an opportunity for them to ask, how can I help you? Experiment with inviting your network into conversations. Experiment, practice, try stuff. You never know what's going to happen until you try it. And nobody's ever been shot for networking unless you do it the wrong way. The right way is make it all about the other person to begin with. Here's a bonus principle. Dale Carnegie said in that book, I referenced you How to Win Friends and Influence People, to that person, their name is the sweetest sound in any language you find. So when you're sharing stuff on LinkedIn and you find it might be something of interest to Kristen, or Kimberly might enjoy it, or Lisa might laugh with you about it, then tag them in that post or tag them in that comment. It's the @ sign, type their name and select it from the list. Practice, you'll figure out what I'm talking about. But you want to celebrate their anniversaries, their role changes. You want to celebrate their new jobs with them. By the way, if someone gets a new job, never ask them what the heck happened to the old job. Focus on the future, not the past. And where relevant, pay attention to other people in other places. Maybe you should follow them on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or Clubhouse, wherever, relevantly. I no longer send invites to my friends on Tinder. That's right, Valerie, I've gotten smarter. That's my high level stuff I want to share with you. So now what I want to do is I want to jump into LinkedIn Live, and I want to help you answer any questions. Denise, good to see you, my friend. So I'm in LinkedIn. So here's where, if you have a question, you want me to look at your profile, or you have any question, unmute yourself and say, hey, Teddy.
Hey, Teddy.
All right. Who is that? Beth?
That was Beth. Yeah. So I have a question. If it's a person that's like, I met an author the other day, or I met, someone, but we are thirds. So I have to message, do I have to message them? It's like, I can't just say, hey, how are you?
Well, you met this author in real life, eyeball to eyeball through virtual or whatever, right?
Right.
So he now knows, or she now knows who you are.
Right.
Okay. So you're telling me you don't see this connect button.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me show you how to overcome that.
Sure.
You have to say pretty please.
Pretty please.
I'm sorry, I'm playing. Check this out. Here's this girl, Berenice. There's no connect button. Just because I like you, Beth, I'm going to make that connect button available to you under the 3 dots connect. If they're third level, or if they have the word message or follow, then if you hit the 3 dots, there's connect.
Okay. So let me look and see.
It's there, I promise you. I would never lie to you, Beth. And again,
I see the 3 dots. So I click on the 3 dots and then just hit connect.
Yes, ma'am. And anytime you send an invite to someone, Beth, what should you do?
Add a note?
Not every time you should add no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Always add a note. The right thing to do. Great question, Beth. Thank you for letting me share that. Who else has a question? I'm going to start playing the Jeopardy music. Anybody else have a question? This goes easier if you have questions.
Well, I guess my question, Teddy, this is Valerie. In terms of just even for the Greensboro Public Library, so if it's a government organization or a nonprofit, what kind of presence should we have on LinkedIn, and what would that look like? What benefits would we have?
So for you personally, Valerie, your LinkedIn profile should tell the public, your target audience slash the public, what do you do at the library to serve them? Now you're way more than just librarian.
Mhm.
Okay. And so you don't have what's called the about section. So the about section is, let me do a repeat. Okay.
I was hoping you wouldn't use me an example, but
Well, you put your profile out there, girl.
yeah, I mean, I haven't been using LinkedIn. I
I
get
get
on
it.
occasionally, but
Yeah, I get it. But you
yeah.
should, again, in your profile, where'd you go? Oh, you're over here. In your profile, you should tell them who you are and what you do. And then you're missing the about section, which looks like this. It's right below here. It's an about section. Again,
Right.
tell them what you do for them. Tell them how you serve them, how you love to serve them, et cetera, et cetera. So, I don't need to go too deep into it, but you should, and maybe put an image of the library. I've seen some images on the website. Put a library image up there. And by the way, this is not you.
I
Okay?
know.
Yeah. Hey, Teddy, this is Chan.
Valerie, I'm going to take a picture of you and I'm going to stick it right up there myself with a sticky note.
I have a good picture now. I just haven't updated it.
Well, you've always got a good picture. You just didn't take it.
Teddy, show her my LinkedIn. I added the Library of Congress.
Oh, nice.
That's
Yeah.
his family room. So cool. What other questions do you have, folks? I got 45 minutes left. I want to help you. That's why we're here. So ask me questions about using LinkedIn for your job search.
So, Teddy, this is Deanne. When you look at who has searched you, where you have appeared in searches, I mean, the obvious is I go and I look at the companies and that, but beyond that, I'm really not sure what to do with that information. And sometimes it varies dramatically.
Yeah. So I can't see yours, but these are the people who've looked for me. Client. This is interesting. I want them to keep looking at me. I want them to come to me and hire me to do high-end stuff. This guy is interested in me and these are clients. So I'm showing up in very relevant places. Then you look down, what do they do? What do these people do? Right. These aren't the only people who looked at me. These are just 5 of them. And it's not the top 5. It's what's referred to as a relevant 5. They're relevant to me because I've engaged with them or their clients. What people do, what do your searchers do? Well, I'm fortunate that I don't see a bunch of proctologists and pharmacists up here. These people are relevant to me. So, at least this tells me that the people who are looking at me are relevant to me in some way or another. Okay. I'd like to have more sales leaders up here, but business strategist is interesting. That makes me think maybe there's conversations that I could have that might inspire more business strategists to look at me in some relevant way. Then the last thing you can look at is the top 5 words. What are the words that people use when they're looking for you? Well, this is relevant to sales navigator, LinkedIn training, LinkedIn strategist, LinkedIn coaching. You know what? I still show up for career coach. I don't market myself as a career coach, but it's relevant to me. So what you need to do, Deanne, I think it was Deanne I was chatting with.
Yes. Yeah.
What you need to do, Deanne, is you need to pay attention to what are the words that are, what kind of searches are happening. I lost Deanne. What kind of searches are happening for you? Are they people relevant to project management? Are there companies that are relevant to your project management? And then, maybe when you see those companies on that list, maybe what you need to do is take a look and go, you know what? If Novo Nordisk is looking at my profile a lot, if they show up every now and then, then maybe what I need to do is start networking around Novo Nordisk and see if I can get a conversation with them.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
True Lion is looking at your profile a lot, maybe I should look for a way to make, are they relevant to me? Do they have the kind of people that I want, do the kind of jobs I want to do? Maybe I should start networking around these companies to see if I can strike up a conversation.
Okay.
Good question, Dan.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Who's next? Oh, Lisa, are you talking? Make sure you unmute yourself if you have a question.
Okay, sorry about that. I was muted. Can you walk through, where do you go to get to the dashboard again?
So on your profile,
Okay.
okay, here's my LinkedIn network. Let me start from the top. My LinkedIn profile. So I'm on my LinkedIn profile. You scroll down below featured, above activity.
Okay, and what you were just talking about, all the detailed pieces of it. How did you just click?
That was under search appearances. I clicked on, see, it doesn't tell you that, but see how it turns into a hyperlink?
Yeah, okay, thank you. That's what I needed to know. Okay, thanks.
I want more questions. I absolutely need more questions. You guys can't go get lunch. I'm just telling you right now, you can't have your afternoon lunch. I'm going to give you I'm going to show you a secret, Beth. You have a question, Beth?
Oh, well, yeah, I was going to ask you about advice about following. Can you follow too many people? Can you follow, all that? But yeah, go ahead and show me a secret. I want to see. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to come back to the follow. Actually, let me talk about the follow now. So follow is pretty important. Okay. So if you find people, on in your LinkedIn news feed that, your network engages on, here's one of the challenges of having a big network is my news feed is often full of my network. Come on, I'll find someone. Here's some Vitech. Okay. So here's this guy named Vitech, he's the guy in orange. I've seen him before. He's always wearing orange. Kevin Turner celebrated his post. And if I like this guy, I think he's of interest. I think he may have something that can help me. I have some ideas. Or one day I might want to have a conversation with him. Then following him, he won't know this unless he's paying attention to his followers. He probably does. But follow him will get more of his content to show up in the newsfeed. So if you're following him, more of his content's going to show up in here, regardless if someone touches it. And then I can see his content, and then I can find an opportunity. Well, you know what? If I want to talk with this guy, rather than send him an invite to connect, I might go engage on his content. Okay. Oh, this is funny. Her name came up already today. That is so funny. So this is a small world. And then so I'll go find Susan Rooks. So her name came up earlier today, Susan KS. Her name came up. So I can look at her and go, you know what? She's an interesting lady. Now notice she's second level to me. And by the way, it's not 3 dots, it's the more. There's the connect button. But if I just want to pay attention to her, I'll follow her. Now more of her content, if she is all about sharing content, which I believe she is, more of her content's going to show up in my newsfeed. Now, why is that beneficial? Because eventually she might share something that does one or two things. It might inspire you to think differently about what you're doing, or it might open up a door for you to get into a conversation with her, which could lead to a connection and could lead to a deeper conversation. Does that make sense, Beth?
Yes.
Now, you can't follow too many. I don't know exactly what the limit is, but as long as you're following based on purpose and goal, relevance, and not just following for the sake of following, then there's never too many. But make sure you're doing it for some very deliberate reason. Okay. Did I answer your question, Beth, or was another piece to that?
Yeah, that answered.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let me share the secret. Let me show you a secret that I'm hoping that you have. I know it's rolling out, And I know it's more, I'm paying for LinkedIn. So I'm always trying to make sure that what I'm sharing with you is not just for paid LinkedIn. And what I'm about ready to show you, I'm pretty certain is not just for paid LinkedIn. Check this out. If I go home, whenever I start a search, I always go to the home page and start fresh. I go in here and I type in, ABC Corporation. Let's just type in ABC. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it even simpler than that. Let's just go click on search and hit enter. I clicked in the search box and hit enter. That's all I did. Now I'm going to click on companies. Here's the secret. Fairly brand new. This is real interesting. I was speaking in Sunnyvale, California yesterday. That's where LinkedIn is. Oh my God, it's a small world. Anyway, here's the secret. Companies now have filters. Now, hopefully you have this. Most of the profiles I've looked at do have it, but not everyone. So that means it's rolling out. But there was a day when all you had was companies and no search. You had to put your words in here and it would bring up the companies. Now you can search by location, industry, company size, and there's two other ones too. You can search by, do they have a job listing, and do you have a first level connection there? This, by the way, is broke. So it was broke. I haven't tested it in the last couple of days. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen, because if you're doing account-based prospecting for new jobs, you can now look for companies in specific locations and specific industries and specific sizes. If you're not doing this, you're missing out on a huge value add to LinkedIn. I want to find people who are in United States, show results. Excuse me, not people, companies. If I want to find companies that are in the, financial services, show results, 133,000. I want to find financial industries in the United States that have 200 to 500, 200 to 1,000 employees, show results, 3,100. That's a big list. Let me drop it down. Let me just find 200 to 500. That's 2,200, still too big. Go back to the United States and let's look just in North Carolina. Okay, I get rid of US, show results, 66. I can work that list.
Yeah.
66 is not too many to
And
work.
Teddy, just to point out for everybody, maybe it's obvious, but each time you're narrowing the filter. That's what you're doing by picking the additional search filter.
Yeah, I'm narrowing my search down, thank you, Chan, to what Seth Godin refers to as the smallest viable audience. Do not be looking in the entire yellow pages. Drive it down to something relevant that you can work. 66 is not unreal to work. So now what I can do, here's a thought. Now you got to create this practice for yourself. So you could take a legacy, right click, open in a new tab. Anytime you're working a list, always right click, open in a new tab. And then you say, you know what? I really want to pay attention to a legacy. Okay, follow them. And even better than that, make sure this isn't something, even better than that, maybe you bookmark a legacy company page. So you bookmark it. Maybe you create, a folder, a new folder. Let's call it home and do a new folder. Let's call it, company ideas. So you bookmark it and then, you look at the legacy, you're filing it, nothing new here. Who do I know there? And then you X that one out and go back to your list and go, oh my God, Omaha, Mutual of Omaha. Right click, open in a new tab. You got to practice this to get used to it. I've been doing it so long, it's second nature to me. Go look at them. You know what? I want to pay attention to them, follow them. So now their stuff will show up in the news feed anytime they share. And they share, not so frequently. A day ago, they share maybe once a day. And so now I go, okay, who do I know there? Do I have any alumni that are there? You know what? I need to pay attention to them a little deeper, bookmark them and company ideas, hit done. And now I can go back to my company ideas bookmark listing. And I go, well, let me look at these different companies today. Bottom line, it really starts happening when you start with this search, and these are brand new search filters, never existed before. This is a game changer for people who want to find companies in industries, in regions based on specific sizes that you may be connected to. That's the little trick I want to show you today. What other questions do you good folks have that I can answer for you?
Teddy, I work for the library as well, and we work with a lot of people that are self-employed, maybe entrepreneurs. Maybe they're looking to like sell their whatever they're doing, and connect with other, maybe people that aren't a company. What are some tips there for somebody who wants to maybe kind of sell their service online?
To individuals?
Yeah, I mean, let's just say, like for instance, if you're a professional storyteller and you want to, get gigs.
Gotcha.
Or a professional musician and want to get gigs. Yeah.
It comes down to this. It all comes down to this. Look, I teach LinkedIn as a business tool, but I know clearly that I now know what my next big banner is going to be. Look, at the end of the day, success starts with one thing: conversations. It's not about social selling. I dislike the phrase social selling because it's so misleading. So if you have a product, a widget, an idea, a passion, if you have a tool, a process that you want that you want others to pay for or ultimately buy, then find ways to get into conversations with your target audience. I do this all day long. I call it prospecting, Beth. I'm looking for people to talk with on a regular basis. And, but along the way, you've got to make sure, A, your brand is clear, / your LinkedIn profile clearly says who you are and what you do. B, you got to make sure you're connecting with the right people that can either, have a need for what you have to offer, be interested in what you have to offer, let alone have a need, and or you're connecting with people who can introduce you to those people. Too often people get on LinkedIn and they go straight to, see if I can embarrass somebody. They go straight to, Teddy, I got this widget I want you to buy. So you can find that person. I get this all the time. Look, Teddy, can we get, I haven't even connected with this lady yet. And, I believe we can do business together. And I asked, how can I help you? She said, let's hop on a call. And I knew daggone well, would love to show you, let's exchange collaborative ideas. But look, she put more time into this, writing this sentence. I have something I want to sell you. And you can't be that, because then I immediately, like other people, come back and go, I ain't interested. So Beth, at the end of the day, if people are going to get on LinkedIn, they've got to look for the right people to connect with, look for opportunities to connect and get into a conversation about them, make the conversation all about the other person to begin with. And then they will give you permission to talk about yourself. And then you can ask this question. You have to do it over and over and over again. Beth, I just told you what I do. Probably wouldn't say it that bluntly. Is this something of interest to you? And would it make sense for us to get into a deeper conversation about it? Over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, so it's a lot about branding, and really and focusing in. I really like what you said about kind of figuring out what you want to do, who you want to do it with and for, and then the branding. So
yeah. And it's also, branding is a big piece of it, but it's also about relationship building. So, I mean, yeah. Valerie called me and she's paying me $10,000 to do this presentation for you because she likes me. Clarity, I'm playing with the number.
Teddy, this is Lisa Curry. I do have a question.
How are you, dear?
I'm okay. I do have another question for you. When you were showing where you can look at who's looked at your profile, or and then you go to the very bottom and those, like the 5 key search terms come up. How do you change those if they're not what you want them to be? Because that, I mean, when I went in after you said that, I went in there and looked at mine, and mine aren't really what I think they should be. And I've had my key terms in my headline. So,
So what were the words that came up, Lisa, if you don't mind sharing?
let me pull it back up again. I can tell you. Hold on a second.
Get the list, and I'm going to ask you again in a second while I tee this up, Lisa. So
Okay, that's fine.
if you're on LinkedIn and you look at your dashboard and you look at the words under search appearances, and the words, if you see these words down here, it's peanut butter and jelly and banana and bicyclist and cowboy and rockette dancer, and you're like, oh my God, those words are not me, then you've made a mistake. Because what those words are words that show up in your LinkedIn profile. Those are words and phrases that show up in your LinkedIn profile somewhere. So they're finding you based on those words. I will tell you that years ago, I got hired to do DDI training. And the reason why I got hired to do DDI training is because in my profile, in a certification, I'm a DDI certified facilitator. So the dude went looking for a DDI certified facilitator in a triad, and he found me. Now,
Okay.
I wasn't looking for that work, but I'm grateful he hired me. So Lisa,
Right.
what were the words that you got found for?
Okay, the words that came up, it says keywords your searchers use. Education manager, that one's fine. Then it says teacher. Then it says product director, and then director of information technology. Now, I do have a background in technology, but my focus is my advanced degree, which is around training and development or learning and development arena. So that didn't show up at all. So it's just interesting that those were the 4 that showed up.
Well, I'm going to wager if I expand all these positions out and I go look for teacher again, teacher's in here somewhere. I don't know where, but
Well, I do. Well, it's probably on there because I've taught in higher education. So that's probably where teacher shows up.
oh, I bet you it's in one of these. Remember these. Your recommendations are also indexed, so you could have teacher in here somewhere.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess what I'm trying to find out is how do I optimize it so the ones around the learning and development space? Because see, if you look at my headliner, it doesn't have teacher in there. It doesn't have.
So if you want to be found for these words, and by the way, you want to be found, this is a great conversation, Lisa. Thank you for bringing it up. You want to be found for the keywords and phrases that your target audience uses. Okay.
Right.
This takes time. In job search, I say pay attention to the 5 or 6 job positions that are the most of interest to you, and make sure that you're using those words that they use in your profile. So, training and development, Lisa, you got to make sure that that's throughout. I only see it in your profile twice. Now, it might be more. I didn't expand everything out, but I only see it in your profile twice.
Okay. So how did you do I see where it shows up as.
I took I opened up a bunch of sections of your profile so I
Okay.
could look at them all, make sure they were all open. You see where it has,
Yeah.
see more,
The
see
drop
less.
down. Yeah.
Then I did a Control F and I typed in training and development.
Okay.
So if you want to be found for, learning education, learning execution, if that's really important, you need to use it more than once.
Okay.
Workforce leadership training. Now that might be a pretty broad statement. You need to use it more than once.
Okay.
Or leadership training. Use it more than once. So
Okay, I'll go back and I know I modified the headline more recently, and I just need to make, so those keywords need to be in each of the jobs too, probably.
And throughout your about section, where
Okay.
relevant and appropriate, they need to be in your experience section where relevant and appropriate. And you can build this out way more too, by the way. Tell more of a story. Maybe tell a story. Take each one of these phrases and tell a story about each one of them in here. It looks like you started that model, but
Okay.
these are not the same words. These
As the ones above,
as
right?
what
No,
you have here.
okay, and
So-
that's exactly what I'll do. Okay, thank you.
Great question. Thank you, Lisa. Who else has another question? Well, I need more questions from you folks, because it's your questions that really are important for me to answer, not just for me to lecture. So while I'm waiting for you to ask questions, I'll offer to you some other things to pay attention to. Is when you're engaging, you want to engage on content that's highly relevant to what you want to do. Don't engage in everything. I'm a sales trainer, so I'm going to look for content from sales trainers about sales training. That's what I'm going to look for. But if you're a project manager, maybe you go look for content about project management. And LinkedIn's trashed the search, but because the word content is no longer up here, but I can go down, scroll down, and yeah, they totally trashed that. Really hate that. So I got to put the hashtag in front of project management. Okay. Now, project management, here's content people have posted about project management. By the way, LinkedIn has trashed this, and I'm hoping they fix it, because it doesn't give me as anywhere near as much content as I wanted to have, and it's harder to find content. Oh, post. I missed it. Thank you, LinkedIn, for putting that word, because it didn't. Post wasn't even there. So there's 640,000 posts about project management. So can I do that? Let me see. Yep, post project management. So look for content about project management that's relevant to you. And by the way, you can look for content that is, posted by my first level connections. Look for content post about project management that was made by your first level connections and show the result. And I'm down to 119. So Stacy Hopper posted something about project management. Stacy, Chisa, something about project management. Elliot, Robin, Chuck, Samantha, Greg. Now, if I'm trying to nurture my relationship with Robin and she posted something about project management, I'm going to read it, look at it, consume it, watch it, whatever, and then I'm going to engage on it. Click on it. I should have right-clicked on it. Read the post, read what she says, come back and engage in some meaningful way. This is really important. So if I want to, if I'm trying to build my relationship with Jeff Williams, I'm going to look at what he wrote. And fortunately, this opens up in another window. Look what he shared. I'm going to look at the post from Do Good, University of Maryland, and I'm going to engage in some meaningful way. If I think that Jeff's post can help me build my brand by sharing it with others, listen to the words I just used. If I think his post can help me further develop, amplify my brand by sharing it with others, then I'll share it. Otherwise, I won't. And by the way, this is something you should be doing every day. Look for content from your target audience, your first level network, and engage on it. And where relevant and appropriate, share it. Lisa, question?
No, I just,
All right.
no, I'm okay.
So yeah, and the way you learn how to do this is you practice. You put a word here. I'm looking for peanut butter, farmer, hit enter, and go to post. Didn't think it would happen, did you? 254 posts about peanut butter. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and again, if I drive it down to post it by first level, let's see if that happens. I'm not betting on that one. Nope. None of my first level network does that. So, but this is a great way for me to connect with other people. So if I'm in the peanut butter industry and Chibota shared something, then by golly, click on that, opens up in a new tab, read it, consume it, think through what is he trying to talk about here. You know, where is he located? He's not in the US because that's not US peanut butter. But you know what? Jump into a conversation. So content, it all starts the conversation, and content is a great way to jump into the right conversations. Questions, anybody?
Teddy, I don't have a question, but I do have something that's been very successful for me recently is I've seen like hiring managers or even recruiters, they'll post a job. And instead of just going and applying directly to the job, I reach out to that person through as a connection, asking, you know, to connect with them. And then just ask if they have a few minutes to chat to learn more about the position. So instead of just applying to kind of a black hole, if you don't know somebody, reaching out to them, and it's really helped me get a lot more interviews and further along in the process. So it's just something I wanted to mention in case other people, and most people are very receptive, especially even, you know, recently a hiring manager, I mean, she had a 30-minute call with me, and you know, it helps her to filter through the applications and to see, you know, after we talked, she's like, you know, I think you'd be a really good fit. I think you should apply for the position, and I'll send a note to my recruiter. So it kind of helps you get past some of that, you know, not being seen by anybody.
No, I'm with you. And Lisa, I'm pretty purposeful about this. Look, and Lisa may have heard me say this, others have heard me say this. If there's someone that I know who I can introduce you to, send me an email and ask me, Teddy, I see you know this person named Rebecca. Would you introduce me to Rebecca for a conversation? More
Right.
often than not, I can do that. Not always. Sometimes I'm connected to someone I don't have enough of a relationship with to do it. Often I do. And more often than not, when I ask that person if they'd be willing to have a conversation with Lisa, they will do it. And that's
Yeah, and I've had the same thing. Most people are very, you know, receptive. Well, and the thing you have to think about is, you know, you're helping them out too. Like when that manager posted a job, I'm actually in the running for the position still, and she just sent me a note saying, well, I have an even better opportunity you might be a better fit for. So then you're even getting into some of the 80% of the jobs that aren't it at all, because they get to know a bit, see your background, and then they have other opportunities come up. So it is all about the networking piece, and I've been doing a lot of that in the last 4 to 6 months, and it's really been more beneficial than just applying online to jobs.
Yeah, and also it's long-term beneficial too, Lisa, because you're connecting with more people who may have more ideas, who may have opportunities down the road, may know someone down the road you need to talk with about something even cooler.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I mean, you build your network every day with people relevant to your career goals, relevant to your business goals, and you never know later down the road. There's a guy in India. His name is Samir, and Samir and I connected. Someone told Samir to talk to Teddy. Well, I talked to Samir, and he didn't have a need for what I did. Well, I then sent him a WhatsApp connection, and we said hi to each other through WhatsApp every now and then. He said hi to my birthday. He said, hey, Merry Christmas to me. I said, Happy New Year. Just very, very infrequent hello conversations with a guy that I got introduced to probably about 4 years ago. Well, you know, we've just been very polite and friendly, saying hi to each other. His business just changed. He's in something brand new. Now he needs me. You never know what's going to happen with these connections. So build your connections, nurture the relationships, help people where you can help them. And later on down the road, you never know what's going to happen. This is really important. Good stuff. Lisa, thanks for bringing that up. Anybody else have a question or something I can help you with?
Yes. Hi, Teddy. Can you hear me?
Yes, who's speaking?
Fantastic. This is Kimberly.
Hey,
You just mentioned something that is right up my line of questioning here. So I am my Facebook, my LinkedIn page is completely irrelevant because it is outdated. I haven't really been active until very, very recently, and I'm in a completely different line of work. Not I'm going into freelance writing.
where do you,
And
Kimberly, where do you live?
I live in Fayetteville.
Okay.
I live in Fayetteville.
I'm looking for you on LinkedIn. You may not want me to, but I is anyway.
I know. Good gracious. And that's fine. It's not going to help a whole lot because like I said, I'm completely different line of work, but look for the spelling too. It's Kimberhly. I think you did pull it up.
Oh,
Um,
Berhly.
Hly, Hopkins. Yes. And going into a completely, that's me, I think. No, yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Completely different line of work, has absolutely nothing to do with what I've done. What are your suggestions for that? Because I'm going to be looking for completely different connections. I'm starting from scratch. I mean, like brand spanking new from scratch. Again, I've been inactive on Facebook not Facebook, excuse me, on LinkedIn. But I find LinkedIn to be a very valuable resource, particularly for going into what I'm looking for. So what would you suggest for me?
So Kimberly, let me tell you a story. And in 2009, I made a very clear decision I was going to change my world. I spent 35 years in the IT industry, organizational development, operational management, mostly IT. Everything before this job here was IT. And this job started out as IT. And in 2009, I made a very clear decision that I wanted to do something different. Actually, I made a clear decision I wanted to do something different, but I wasn't real sure what it was. It took me about 6 to 8 months to figure it out, but then I figured it out.
Right. I
Okay?
can relate.
So I figured out what I wanted to be. And then I immediately started changing lots of things. I started changing the conversations I got into. I no longer got into IT conversations. I focused on getting into social media conversations. I started changing the people I hung out with. I no longer started looking for IT people to hang out with. I started looking for marketing and sales training and, organization, learning and development people to connect with and, and to get into conversations with. I changed around how I said who I am, and it was nowhere near this what I said, but I never ever said I'm an IT consultant. I always said I'm a social media strategist.
Right.
So I changed the way I thought, I changed the way I presented myself, and I changed around the network that I started networking with.
Right.
Those are the three core things you have to do. And by the way, I changed around who I am. I said, I'm Teddy Burriss, social media strategist. Well, I just finished taking the dang test.
Right.
And
Right.
I aced it. Okay.
Right.
And that's all I needed to say is I'm Teddy Burriss. I'm a social media strategist. Nobody asked me how much experience I have. No one asked me how much money I make doing it. I'm a social media strategist. By the way, if anybody asks, I'm brand freaking new at it.
Right.
Change the
Right.
way you think, change the
Right.
way you present yourself, change the network you hang out with.
And so, Teddy, what did you do with concerning existing connections? Did you disconnect any of
No,
those? I don't feel a need to do that, but I don't know.
Don't.
Okay, good.
Don't.
Okay.
No, they may be important to you. You just don't know it yet.
Exactly.
I just, when I engage with them, I didn't engage about IT. And if they call me up and says, Teddy, I need to fix my computer. And by the way, I never fix computers. I'd say, hey, I know somebody.
Right. Right. There you go.
I do.
And in fact, you just said it earlier that someone, the example you gave just before I spoke, that person changed what they did and now they need your services. Well, that's what my thought was as well, that, I don't want to disconnect because they actually could use my services now. So I wasn't sure, but you confirmed it. So
yeah. My network from the past is my network, a whole other conversation, which is a huge conversation. My network is my most important asset in life. Think about that.
Right.
My network is my most important asset in life. It is the portal to everything I'm looking for. I don't care what it is. It, you know, job, career, resources, business partners, new clients, prospects, knowledge, friendship, you name it. My network is my most important asset in life because it's the portal to everything I'm looking for the most part in life and business.
Right.
So I don't get rid of
Thank you.
anybody. Now, I may not pay as much attention to that, you know, IT help desk guy as I did before because my world is different.
Exactly.
That's great, Kimberly. Great question. Great question.
Thank you. You helped me so much. I appreciate it.
Who else has a question or a thought or something we can help them with? I got about 15 minutes left.
Teddy, this is Deanne again.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I know there's an area on LinkedIn where you can set a designation for pro bono work, and I can't find it anywhere. Willing to do pro bono, or I saw it on Lisa's actually. I think she had a designation marked on her LinkedIn profile.
On Lisa Curry?
Yes, that's who I was referring to. I think I saw it. Reach out to Lisa.
Lisa for. I think.
And I've seen it on other people, and I cannot find how you do that.
Oh, I remember looking for this before, and I did not find it.
Not sure I remember how to do it, but I'll look and see if I can find that. I mean, I see where you're talking about, but I don't remember what I did for that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And who is that, Deanna?
Yeah, the Deanne. Yes.
Okay, Deanne. Okay, yeah. I'll look at it and see if I can remember how to do it.
Okay, thanks, Lisa.
I don't want to hear about your $500,000. Go away, ad. Oh my God, it's a 3-minute ad. I don't have time for a 3-minute ad with you guys. I'll do that later. Here, maybe Cora has it. This is, you know, if I don't know the answers, Dan, I know how to find them. I go ask my buddies, either on YouTube. Oh, look. I wrote the answer in 2018.
Oh, wow.
Looks like it's under volunteer work. No?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing.
I don't know if that's the same.
Yeah. Let's see. Add a profile section, volunteer, skills, additional accomplishments. I'll look that up. If I can find it, then I will share it. It's been a while since I looked for it. So
But also, Deanne, do you have, and Lisa, do you have a paid account or is it free?
I have the Premier account.
But all this is based on free.
I have the free account. I don't have the
Okay.
paid account.
Okay.
None of this is based on paying for LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I'll try to find it and see.
Yeah, I'll have to remember. I do see where it's.
Yeah, I got a note to find it. And Deanne, send me, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, send me a message on LinkedIn and ask me.
We are, but I'll send you a message anyway.
All right, great question. I love it when I get stumped. What other questions could I answer for you folks? So it's 1:22. Look, finding a job is a job. Finding a job is a lot of work. Finding the right job is even more work. And I can promise you from doing this for over 11 years now that the best opportunities are hidden and you're going to find them by getting into conversations. No one has ever been shot by asking a business professional if they're open to a conversation. It doesn't hurt. It may feel daunting, You may never have done it before and you're scared what's going to happen. I'm just telling you firsthand, do it right. Ask for introductions when you can ask for introductions, and see if you can strike up a conversation with someone about ideas. Not every conversation isn't going to open the door to an opportunity, but every conversation will give you a new piece of insight. Every conversation will give you a new idea. It'll give you a new way of looking at this. And then the next conversation can be more fruitful. So, and it starts with on LinkedIn, being deliberate about building your profile and telling people who you are, what you do / want to do, building your network all around that space, keep it growing, focusing on the influencers, the people that you know who can introduce you to others, focus on the target audience, the business owners, the business leaders, the department heads who are in the spaces that you want to be in. Focus on connecting with people who work with those in those departments for that department head. And every day looking for a way to get into conversation. Every day look for a way to build your brand by sharing and engaging. And you don't need to spend 8 hours a day doing this. There's lots of other things you need to do, but spend a few minutes every day building your profile, building your network, building your brand through engagement and conversations, looking for ways to get into real Zoom or phone conversations. It will pay huge dividends, but you've got to commit to the work. I coach people on job search all week long, 3 or 4 different times. And most of the people struggle with this idea about getting into conversations, but that's where the magic is. And if I can help you along the way, just reach out and ask. Valerie, back to you.
Thanks so much, Teddy. And I'm glad everybody came today. I'm going to share my screen.